Hi guys. Welcome to Resilient Minds 365, where we discuss the resilient stories of entrepreneurs, professionals, and students with mental illness to encourage you to strive, to thrive, and live in abundance. I'm your host, Cleoni Crawford, and I look forward to sharing many stories with you to encourage you to live in resilience. So, I hope you get inspired. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. So guys, this is episode 1 of the many that are about to come, because let's talk about the name 365, Resilient Minds 365. So basically, I want to let people know that every day there's another resilient mind out there. 365 days of the year, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's someone out there that's bouncing back. They're coming back. And I want you to be encouraged, to let you know that your mental health challenge does not have to hold you captive. But in order to do that, I first want to talk about how I started this and where I'm coming from. So, my name is Cleoni Crawford. I'm your host at the new show, Resilient Minds 365, and I live with bipolar disorder. I've been diagnosed in 2006, and I was diagnosed when I was in university, at University of Toronto. I was taking some African history courses with teachers like Nakaniki Musisi and Afua Cooper and basically amazing women like that. I was inspired by these women because these women were giving me another way to look at elite women, elite African women. And I am a Black woman who is of African descent because I am from the motherland, Black power. So with that said, I was taking some courses in African history, and I came with this amazing idea to start a nonprofit called Black Seed. The word seed actually was S.E.E.D. Don't ask me what it meant, because it was 2005 when I came with the idea, and that was so long ago. So with that said, I came with this amazing idea to create a nonprofit to help connect young at-risk youth in the Rexdale community to professionals and mentors that could help them come out of the ashes. Do you know what I'm saying? We need help. And that's what I wanted to do, is to help someone. And that's what I'm doing right now, is I'm here to help people. So, like I said, I created this organization, and let me just drink some water, if you don't mind, please. Sorry. So I created this organization to help people, young people who were struggling to find identity and who maybe need help to find their identity in another mentor. So I was excited. I was sharing my idea with everybody, and people were excited. I remember sharing it with people like my cousin's brother, Sean, and sharing it with another schoolmate of mine who is doing amazing things in the Somalian community, Nazra Agil. It was just amazing time. We were trying to work on it, but you know what? There was something going on with me. I was acting kind of cryptic. I was acting very dark. I was starting to feel like I was on this mission, and I started to feel like I was a spy. I remember wearing my black leather jacket all the time, and it was just, I felt like I was undercover, like this is Inspector Gadget, you know what I'm saying? So with that said, I was a spy in my mind, and I was surviving off a little sleep. What was I doing? I was surviving with little sleep. I was traveling a lot, and I was spending a lot of money, and I was talking really, really fast. And you know what I learned years later is that those are symptoms of mania in bipolar disorder. So I didn't know that. So I continued to act like that for maybe about a month and a half or so. And then all of a sudden, all of that energy just came crashing down. I suddenly did not want to get out of bed, did not want to eat, didn't want to get dressed, didn't want to brush my teeth, didn't want to comb my hair. And I suddenly had this looming feeling of, you know what? I want to die. That didn't make any sense to me because I'm a woman of faith. I'm a faith believer. I'm a faith walker. And as a faith walker, we don't do that. We don't commit suicide. Why? Because we have a good life. We live in the best life, best life, best life. Hey, hey. Music therapy is very important to me. So that's my insert. So anyhow, we try to live the best life, and I didn't feel that way. I felt suicidal. I wanted to die. I remember I was on U of T's campus. I was living in Tartu College, and I don't know. But when I think back, why would I want to die? Why did I want to die? Well, I remember living with a roommate in there who was a graduate student, was quite smart, but there was something off about her. I'm pretty sure she had a mental illness. And I don't know if it was her essence, yeah, that's the word, if that might have triggered me or something, but something was off about her that didn't feel right. And I had never suffered from a mental illness ever. Prior to that, I had suffered from epilepsy for about 11 years, since I was 13 to 24. So we're saying, I think I had experienced bipolar 2006. So that would be, let's calculate because I'm going to have to calculate. 9101. So that's 25. So literally 1 year later of me being healed of my epilepsy, which means I had no more seizures. 1 year later, I encounter this, which is what was called later bipolar disorder. I learned the term bipolar disorder when I went into CAMH in January of 2006. I went to CAMH, took myself into CAMH and called a friend. Let's call her G, by the way. She knows who she is because I call her G even though her name is blank. So G came to meet me at the Center for Addiction and Mental Health. Ooh, that's my son behind me. Anyways, the Center for Addiction and Mental Health. And she sat with me because at the time I wasn't necessarily having the best relationship with my mother, whom I love now, but we weren't having the best relationship, so I wasn't comfortable to call her. So I called my friend because my friend was a social worker. She worked in social work, and I figured that she would understand me and understand what I was going through. So with that said, I called her, we waited in the waiting room, and I met with an intake nurse. She asked me many questions, and then I guess she probably figured out that based on the answers that I was giving, that there was something that was a little bit off. So the psychiatrist came And basically, the psychiatrist asked me to say some more questions. And at the end of that, that's when I first heard the term bipolar disorder. I never knew there was such a term because I never knew what bipolar disorder was. I never knew anyone with it. But that day, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and that changed my life for forever. That one label changed my life forever. Things were never the same. So for 6 months, I went to see the school psychiatrist at the University of Toronto, and seeing her was really good. For 6 months, they never recommended medication, but they did recommend psychotherapy. Think about it. No medication, but they said psychotherapy is what you need. You need someone to talk to express your feelings, to get things out, to get perspective. So I needed someone to get some perspective. So for 6 months, once a week, for 1 hour a week, I spoke to a psychiatrist, and she never once mentioned medication. And by the time 6 months of working with this psychiatrist, how many sessions does that work out to? 6 times 4 is 24. So after 24 sessions of working with this woman, I started to feel back to my normal self. I started training again for the marathon that I ran in October. I started eating healthy foods again. I started going back to church. Well, I had never stopped, but I was just happy. But not only was I was happier because I finally figured out what was wrong with me, what was going on with me. Like, it didn't make sense, but I figured out what was wrong. And when I figured out what was wrong, I was able to do something about it. And I was feeling good that the 6 months, the 24 sessions that I had were actually beneficial. So I decided to go to my church, which is the church I was raised in since I was 16. I will not mention the name, but I will say the acronyms, which is NLPC. You know, do the research. I went to church and I told a sister that, guess what? Hey, guess what? I finally know what's wrong with me. I have bipolar disorder. That's what I said. But that sister stopped, thought, and then responded, "No, sister, that is of the devil." When I heard those words, it pierced my soul because it made me realize that I must have been demon possessed for the last 6 months. So they demonized my mental illness. And that's what happens in the church sometimes, is that through lack of understanding, they demonize illnesses. And so that means for the next 6 years, from 2006 to 2012, I did not have any bipolar episodes again, but I did have episodes that were questionable. Like, for instance, when my sister passed in 2007 in a car accident. And that's actually why I'm doing the show today on June 2nd, because when she passed away, it was June 2nd, 2007. So I dedicate this show to my baby sister, Alicia Basila Ashley. No, actually, that's not even Basila. Basila is my other sister's middle name. Alicia Latoya Ashley, 1989. Still an 80s baby. So I dedicate this show to her because I remember when I was at her bedside, I told God on June the 4th that God, if you're going to take my sister away, you know you have to pay me back. Well, guess what, friends? From 2007 to now, that's 13 years later. Well, 13 years later, it's payback time. And I'm finally doing well. Because guess what, guys? I have bounced back. My name is Bounce, 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 yay. Back to the story. So, and during those 6 years, I was arrested once for a fight because I was, defending somebody. I was like, trying to help somebody out. But in helping someone, I got into crossfire and I responded and reacted and I got into a fight and I got arrested. And then I got kicked out of the school for a few years, actually, because I had to come, because they said that something's psychologically wrong with you. Was it that something was psychologically wrong with me? Or was it that I was a Black woman who was angry, who was trying to defend somebody? A Black woman trying to defend somebody. That's what happens in this country, unfortunately. Black women are not allowed to be angry. We're not allowed to show that type of experience and that kind of feelings. And I felt it was an injustice done against me. So for the next few years, I constantly just had different injustices continue to happen to me. And it's just crazy what happens, So in 2012, that's when the bipolar came back. I'm not going to tell you the whole story, but the bipolar did come back. And I was working, but prior to it coming back in 2012, I want to give you a background. In 2011, from 2010 to 2011, I was working for the Ministry of Health with Long-Term Care and the Fiscal Oversight Performance Brands under Michael Parzai and Rhonda Ross. And they were my bosses in the Ministry of Health. I loved my job. I worked very hard. I worked overtime. I created initiatives. I did a lot. I loved my job. And then 1 year later, I had a seizure. And because I had that seizure, eventually I was let go again due to my epilepsy, illegally. But they had to pay me $10,000 for me to leave because it was illegal what they were doing. So I lose my job, and then I had just moved into my own new apartment. Give me a second. I had just moved into my new apartment, and would you believe, after 4 months of living in there, my apartment flooded. My fashion business, See Virtue, my office space, I lost it in Downsview Park, due to the aerospace, due to the new renovations that were done in Downsview Park. So lost that, I was kicked out there. Then my apartment floods and all my furniture are destroyed. And I feel like, what's going on with my life? Why is all this bad stuff happening to me? And then finally in 2012, I think I cracked. And that's when I ended up back in the mental hospital, but this time I was put there under duress. I was in the hospital for 6 days illegally. Well, I felt it was illegally because I went there on my own terms, but I didn't leave. I wasn't able to leave on my own terms. And that was the beginning of my mental health journey, where I would have been mentally hospitalized. In total, I've been hospitalized 26 times. And during that process between 2012, 2013, and even up until 2018 or 19, I've been sent to prison for crimes I've been sent to prison twice. once in 2013 for a crime I never committed, and which I currently still have a criminal record for, and twice in 2018 or 19, I think it was 19, in January, for threatening a politician. Will not make her name known, because I'm going to give her a little bit of dignity. However, I was hurt. I've been homeless. I've even escaped from a mental hospital. Oh, good times, good times, good times. Oh gosh, good times, good times. But so in a nutshell, I've gone through it. But guess what, guys? I represent resilience, because I bounced back. I am now Cleoni Crawford, author, speaker, mental health advocate, spiritual counselor, spiritual coach, consultant. What else am I? Serial entrepreneur, former fashion designer. As you can see, I'm very fashionably adorned in my African attire. And my newest position, did I say author? Yes, I'm going to be a 3-time author, probably a 4-time author. But my newest position, which I'm most proud of, is I am now a digital strategist, where I teach people how to become digital. It's awesome, especially considering COVID. So there's more to this story, but I'm not going to end it. I'm not going to let you know, because this is a journey that I'd like to take you on. And in this journey, I want you to feel the things that I felt and just to come with me. So with that said, let's get my music on. Hey, What? And to all you resilient minds out there, until next time, please subscribe to us on all our platforms. And don't forget to rate the show and leave a review for us on Apple Podcasts. Also, join the community of resilient minds and sign up for our bi-weekly newsletter at www.cleonicrawford.com. Be sure to grab a copy of my book, The Music of My Life, on all Amazon marketplaces to get to know me better. If you can think of one person that will receive value from today's show or connect to my testimonial, please share it with them. Feel free to take a screenshot of this week's episode of the podcast and tag us on Instagram. You can tag myself, Only Cleoni, or Resilient Minds 365, and me, Cleoni Digital. And remember, mental health is not a death sentence. Despite your illness, you can strive, you can thrive, and you can live a life of abundance. Until next time, I'm Cleoni Crawford, and I'm signing off. My name is Cleo Crawford. This is how I let you know I got to go. Bye-bye.